welcome back to another episode of The Goodall Show, where we learn how to grow, motivate you to grind, and encourage you to give. I am James Goodall, your host, and we're going to have a phone call with a kid from Kentucky. He's going to Eastern Kentucky University right now, and he started his lawn care company last year, been in business for 1 year, has a big dream, big goals, and we're going to try to have a conversation with him. And if you are in this situation looking to start, just started, hopefully this will help. We are in the middle, or we are at the end of March Madness. North Carolina versus Duke. Top 5 rivalries in sports in America. And it is going to be nuts on Saturday. I mean, I'm ready to watch it. I hope you are ready too, because this is probably the biggest college basketball game in the history of the sport. I mean, they've never met in the tournament ever in their 50-year history. Duke has won 50 games. North Carolina has won 49. This is Coach K's last year coaching. I mean, wow. I would say this is going to break records. So I'm excited about that. Also, other thing I'm excited about, we got a new power washer to power wash driveways, like the circle ones, those cleaners. And someone bought it for us, actually. Not the company or anything, just someone we know. He wanted us to do his driveway, so he bought it for us. Hopefully I can make some videos on that. But we are in the middle of spring cleanups, and last week we did one spring cleanup, and we did 1 day of spring cleanups, and it rained the next 4. If that's like you, leave a comment. We did 1 spring cleanups this week, and then today it rained. It's pouring rain in. Tomorrow it's probably going to rain. Hopefully we can do some Friday. I'm recording this on Wednesday. But before we get to the phone call, I want to emphasize the pumpkin plan, because I'm looking at all the books that I've done. I haven't emphasized this book, and this is in my top 5 business books by Mike Michalowicz, and he wrote Profits First. He wrote Fix This Next, that I have on my list to read, and I don't know if there's another book that's helped me more. I think there's some books out there that have helped me the same. Profits First have helped me. The One Thing has helped me. 2 Second Lean has helped me. Total Money Makeover probably has helped me the most out of any book in my life. But the Pumpkin Plan, like I said, I do not know if there's another book. There's so much good stuff in there. I've already read it twice. They talk about in there the value of 1 pumpkin seed, right? And it's crazy if you look at how much an ounce of gold is compared to an ounce of a pumpkin seed, like the best pumpkin seed, like the biggest ones. Like it's came from a pumpkin that was massive, and the amount of money that someone would pay for a pumpkin seed is actually more per ounce than a gold. And it's nuts. Like, it's crazy. I love this book. I really do. And it's helped us so much. We have said no to more in the last 3 years. We've said no to more things than we've said yes to. I had a guy call me yesterday. He said, "Hey, I have a property here. It's a commercial property. Would you want to come out and look at it?" I said, "Sure." Went out and looked at it, because I never say no to anything right away. I want to look at it. And if it would have been easy and ideal, I might have done it. But I get out there, and it's a parking lot, and there's there's cars around. There's little islands you have to mow, and it's just not ideal. It's not something that we want to do specifically. So I said no. I said, "Hey, I have a guy who might be interested, and you can call him, but we don't want to do it." And I've said no to more things in the last 3 years than I've said yes to. We have said no to services. We've said no to opportunities. We've said no to business because it didn't line up with our ultimate goal. And the pumpkin plan, the biggest thing they talk about is if you have 100 clients, every single year you have to drop, they say 15%, the bottom 15%. So if you have 100 clients, you have to look at your bottom 15 and get rid of them. Your worst 15, the ones that take up your most time, the ones that complain the most, the ones that don't pay on time, who don't want to pay the ultimate price. That question, why are you raising prices? We're charging you $25 to mow your yard. We have to raise your price. Those are the people you don't want. So Pumpkin Plan has really helped us with that. I challenge you, if you haven't read any of the books that I've talked about, I challenge you to read this one. and because I know from experience it could change your life. It could change your business. Hopefully you enjoy this conversation. I love having these conversations with guys. If you want to get on a phone call, message me on Instagram. If you have messaged me on Instagram like 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, and you didn't hear back, message me again, okay? Because stuff gets lost, okay? Message me again on Instagram or email me at the show, the goodallshow@gmail.com. Let's get through this conversation. Hey, Peyton.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I know I'm a little early calling, but I was here in the office, and I just got done with the intro, and I was seeing if you were ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay.
I'm good to go.
Sweet. So I kind of introduced yourself. I said you're in Kentucky, and you're in school right now. You started the lawn care company last year, and you're ready to grow. Is that basically how it went? And just tell us how
Yes,
you
sir.
started it and all that.
So it's kind of, I guess in a sense, I'm still working full-time for the same company I've worked for the past couple of years while I've been in college.
Okay.
And they're kind of on the mowing, landscaping, and more of the kind of on the treatment side of things. So I guess I've been under their watch for the past couple of years, learning quite a bit of things. But with that, I've been kind of, branching out, doing mowing jobs on the weekends, afternoons, things of that nature. But I know within the next year, this is something that I'm going to step out on my own and hope to, start my own business, because this is what I see myself doing in the future.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's
So
kind of
you've
where
been
I'm at.
you've been working for a company that does mainly fertilizing. Is that kind of what you're saying? And landscaping?
It's kind of split. I guess it's kind of 50-50. They have way more, obviously, treatment properties they do than we actually mow and landscape. But there's a couple of us that are out doing the mowing, landscaping thing, and then the other people in the company are doing the treatment stuff.
Okay. And then how long have you worked for them?
This will be my second year. I'm in my second year now.
Okay. And then in school, how long have you been in school?
I'll be a fifth year, but I've been in school 4 years.
Okay.
I've got about another year to finish up.
Gotcha. And you said what'd you say your degree was in?
It's general business now.
Okay. And then so you're thinking, hey, I've learned a lot from this company. What can I do to get to my own business, starting out myself next year? Is that what you're kind of thinking?
Yes, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. So I guess my question to you, because it's a little different, right? You don't have a company yet. My question to you is, why haven't you done that this year? What's the simple reasons?
Really obligations with school, and then I guess financially.
Gotcha.
Where I'm still kind of working. It's a full-time. I kind of work full-time. I'm pulling my 40 hours, but at the same time, it's not, like a full-time job like with pay and all that type of stuff. I guess it's still kind of part-time.
Okay. And then how are you – so do you pay for school, like by yourself out of pocket, or are you paying with like student loans or anything like that?
I do have – it's kind of 50-50 split.
Okay.
50's out of pocket, and then 50% would be kind of financial aid, student loans, things of that nature.
Okay. And then I guess a question I have for you that's maybe not a good subject right now is, are you a Kentucky basketball fan?
Unfortunately, it's pretty touchy. I'm a diehard fan. It's been a very, very terrible March, but
man,
we're getting through it, I guess.
In the intro, I was talking about, Final Four, Duke versus North Carolina. Like this is one of the biggest college basketball games like ever. They've never met in the Final Four. They've never met in the tournament. Biggest rivalry, top 5 rivalries in sports, American sports. And then I knew you were coming on. I'm like, dude, Kentucky loses in the first round. Like, dude, that's got to be heartbreaking. I was excited because I like seeing upsets.
Yep.
But dude, I know how it would feel to see that. Dude, you got to admit, man, did you shed any tears?
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. Shout out, I guess, St. Peter's for the craziest Cinderella run ever. But
yeah.
We have a team that is being picked by a lot of people. Probably the national player of the year, most dominant player in the country, and just dropping an egg, man.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So what have you been? Is it Rupp Arena? Is that what it's called?
Yes, it is Rupp Arena.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been to. I think I went to 4 or 5 games this year.
Really? Okay.
So I live.
You are
I
a
live in the
diehard.
town next to it, so I'm like 30 minutes from downtown Lex.
Okay.
So,
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. So how long have you had the entrepreneur bug or, that vision of, hey, I want to start this company? What's some of the fears? What's some of the unknowns?
Okay, so I guess within the past year, I switched. I was pre-med for a couple of years and decided it's crazy. I'm not really trying to do anything with that. So I kind of got the business itch, I guess, in a sense. And as I've kind of started like branching out within the past year, I figured out, like it's extremely scary, I guess, is the easiest way to put it, with financials. And most people I've heard, there's a lot of people out there that work for 26 paychecks a year. They get paid bi-weekly, and that's just kind of how they live. And I've just decided, in a sense, I would rather work for myself and grow, because you can invest your time, energy, and money into somebody else, or you can do it for yourself, for personal gain. So I guess that's where I'm at. And biggest fears, is just now financially trying to get the equipment to get set up. And I'm sure you've had trouble with it. And I was kind of want to pick your brain on, like employees, how to find employees for this type of industry, and keep the employee turnover down.
Yeah.
And things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the entrepreneur bug, right? The thing that we get from that is truth. I do think that there's not everybody should have a business. I don't think 100% of people should have a business, but there is a lot of people out there who work for someone else who, if they could get over that fear, if they could get over that unknown, that they would be good for business. And the fear, I think, comes with, almost thinking, hey, I have to jump in like full feet, both feet. I have to take a leap of faith. And yeah, you do, but at the same time, like, man, could you work for that company like 3 days a week, still have some income coming in? Not in your specific situation, but is there someone out there who, man, if you went to your boss and say, hey, could I work, instead of working 40 hours a week over 5 days, could I work 40 hours a week over 3, 4, and grind, and then over 2 days? Then you start to slowly see, okay, well, I have 10 lawns already. If I quit my job, I could get 25. I could get this amount of landscape. So I know that there's a metaphor or whatever of, get the boat closer to the dock before you jump, right? You don't want to just jump when there's no boat around, but you get that boat closer to say, okay, how can I make this job a reality? And maybe that's like someone like you. Hey, maybe that's I'm going to work in the summer a couple weekends by myself and start like getting my name out there or whatever. And that's true, man. Dude, like, it's not easy. And I think there's a lot of businesses that haven't been started, or someone else started that business because someone else was too scared, right? They were afraid. They didn't know.
Exactly.
They didn't know exactly. And I think you don't have to know all the answers, right? I'm learning every single day. Like, maybe not something new every single day for the business, but for sure every week I learn something that, hey, we need to do this a little different. And if you never jump out there, never start, then you're just gonna be a year behind. So, how have you learned about business? Like, do you read some books? Are you ready? Do you feel like, hey, I'm ready for this? Or is it, man, dude, I know it's a little nerve-wracking, but do you feel like, hey, I know what I need to do, or not?
I guess it's middle ground in a sense. I've been here lately within the past, I guess, calendar year, really kind of digging into podcasts. Started reading some books, trying to just gain any bit of knowledge that I possibly can on the whole like landscaping, mowing industry side. Like, I'm pretty knowledgeable, know what I'm doing, but it's more of the worry is in the business side of, keeping track of all these things, taxes, just doing, I guess, with the money end of everything. I definitely think I'm in a better spot than I have been with all that, but there's, obviously, like you said, there's still more things to learn. Yeah. But it's just kind of, I guess, getting my feet under me and trying to figure out exactly kind of what direction I want to go and how fast, I want to move into that.
Gotcha. So, for the finance side, I don't know if I could help you, but the finance side, right? Profits First. I don't know if you ever heard me talk about that book, but Profits First for the business side of it. So like the money coming in, right? Financials. you have the Profits First talks about 5 different accounts, business
Okay.
accounts. And I condensed it and made it a little simpler, and I have 4 accounts. Okay, so I have a general operations account. I have that's for all the money that we collect, right? If we send out an invoice and we get paid, every single dime goes in that one account, okay? And
Okay.
then we have another account. It's called the payroll account, which, if you're just starting out, you might not even need a payroll account. But
Yep.
I would start one. Go to your
Okay.
bank and start 4 accounts. Honestly, I would. So you have a general operations account and you have a payroll account. And that payroll account might just be for you. Like, this is what I'm going to pay myself. And that payroll account, only money that comes out of that account is what we write checks for to our employees, our employers. Our team members. So we
Okay.
have our general operations account. When my aunt does the books, the payroll on Thursday, she transfers money out of the general operations account, all the money that went in there, general operations account. She transfers the money into the payroll account of how much we need. If we need $3,000, she transfers $3,000 out of general operations into payroll, and then she writes $3,000 worth of payroll. So those are 2 accounts. The other one we have is taxes. So we have a taxes account, so we're not surprised at the end of the year, hey, this is how much money I need, where am I going to find it? All the money that goes into general operations. And let's say for the last week we brought in $10,000. Let's say we brought in $10,000. We transfer on Thursday at the same time. She transfers money out for payroll, and she transfers 10% from general operations into the taxes, and that's 10%. Let's say if we, obviously we brought in $10,000, we transfer out 10% of that. That's $1,000.
Okay.
And some people are like 10%. That's not enough. Usually you get taxed at 25%. Well, that's 10% of the gross. Okay, that's like the gross amount. And we found, really about halfway through the year, we start to realize, hey, we have a little bit more. So then we'll drop it down to like 5%. But 10% to start out, like if you just do that. And then the last account is profits. So, same thing, 10%, whatever you made that week. If you make, let's say you make $1,200, $120 goes into your profits account. And you start seeing building and start building up your profits account. And Mike Machalo is the Profits First guy. He talks about, maybe if you can't do 10%, like start with 1%. Like just start with 1% because you got to take your profits first. So taking 1% out, but those are the 4 accounts. Like that has really helped, dude. Like because when I look at my bank account online, I see 4 accounts. This is how much money we have in our general operations, where every single dime goes in, where we make the money, and then all the expenses come out. So like gas, repairs. If we buy food for the guys, if we buy new equipment, all of the money that comes out of that account is that stuff. And the only thing that comes out of payroll is payroll, and then obviously taxes and profits first. I don't know if that kind of clears it up. The other thing I would say about it is for taxes, I would get somebody that you trust, like a CPA or whatever, like a accountant, because we have an accountant. And it's really nice. It is, just to have someone that knows who does accounting every day and taxes every day. And he doesn't do much for us. We send over how much we did in payroll. We send over our taxes, and he takes care of it. But, just having a guy, you don't want to do that, especially in a small business. Like, you don't want to do it yourself. I don't believe. I believe you want to do someone that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
And I don't know if that makes sense. Anything that comes up, do you say, man, what about this though?
No, honestly, that is awesome. I've never heard of that, like kind of the way you're doing that, and that is, in my mind, that's genius. Because you know exactly where everything's going.
Yeah,
And you still allow yourself to build back, in the company.
Absolutely, because profits. Yeah, and really, I just got it from Profits First, and like I said, he does it a little different. But I just kind of tweaked it. Hey, what works for us? But Profits First has really helped us with that aspect. And I was already decent with money. And to be honest, I had 3 accounts, my personal accounts. I had a savings account, where I was saving for, a house. And then I had a checking account where, I put all my money in, and then I would, whatever whatever I needed for food and stuff out of that account. And then I had an emergency fund, kind of like a profits account, emergency fund set aside where, man, if I needed anything emergency-wise, that was for that. So I already had 3 accounts set up. So it was a little, I kind of used to that, but then I read the book and it just made sense on like a business level where, man, it could be scary. Like a lot of us, business owners, we know how to make money, but we don't know how to handle the money
Yes.
that comes in. So, yeah, I like I said, I would consider reading the book and see if it makes sense for you, but then also an accountant that could help you and be in your corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you start your company, are you thinking, hey, I'm gonna go after mowing, after landscape, after fertilizing? Because if you're in a company that does fertilizing a lot, you might be interested in that, or how, what are you thinking there? And are you going to think about starting in the same area?
So kind of we kind of split. We work in the Richmond, the town that I live in, and then we work in Lexington as well. And it's kind of what I've decided. You've got 2 different options there, and there's a couple different towns around where there's plenty of work. And the whole landscaping industry, I guess, in a sense, it's definitely flooded because you've got a million different companies out doing stuff, and then you've also got your weekend warrior type people that are mulching, mowing a few yards in the evenings, weekends, whatnot. But there's so much work. I know, like all the guys around here that I've talked to and do this type of stuff, they're always trying to give away work. There's just so much that they can't keep up with. So probably yes, stay in the same top region.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know that with from kind of what I figured out in the past year or so, mowing is your least profitable, I guess, thing that you can do, but that's kind of where I want to start and then do the landscaping. On the treatment side, I'm not really, I guess, interested in that too far yet. I'm going to get my license and try to do all that, but I want to start with the mowing, landscaping, whatnot, and kind of build up the clientele that way.
Yeah.
And then slowly move into other things. So I guess within, hopefully, I can start, and it's really just getting equipment is the big thing right now. Trying to figure out how I'm going to pull the strings in order to do all that type of stuff. But I'm in the works now of getting a mower, getting all the stick equipment, blowers, weed eaters, all that.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, man. I mean, the mowing side, the mowing part of our business is the least profitable, but it's every single week. It's reoccurring. It's there every week, and if you like, for us, we have 200 clients right now. At the peak last year, we have a 250, but we decided, hey, we're going to go back down to about 200, be a little bit more profitable. And we also added a big contract for the town. So, we went down to 200, and it's true. It is the least profitable. If bushes, if you're paying some guys, if you're profiting 30%, mulch, you're probably profiting 40, 50%. Aeration is more. But all that stuff is not every week, and so I think that's such a valuable part. And then you also have 200 clients that you can upsell. Hey, can we do your bushes? Can we do your mulch? Where if you didn't have those 200 clients, you don't have their emails. You can't upsell.
Yes.
So that's exactly how we did it, man. We just focused on reoccurring revenue for the last 3 years. And yes, we've turned down some good business and some good profitable stuff, but long term, man, we're set up. Long term, it's simple, man. You go to the same yards, the guys mow the same properties over and over again. It's pretty simple stuff that you can do. The other thing I would say when you say, hey, I got to get equipment is don't be if you want my advice, don't be too scared to just, hey, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get 5 lawns and I'm gonna get a good push mower, right? Because I understand, some of these lawns are pretty big and maybe you don't want to go that route, but is there a way where you could just get your feet wet and get a nice push mower where I'm getting exercise, but at least I'm getting 5, 10 clients, and then I can take that money and save it and get a equipment. Because I understand, I just bought a mower for $12,000. Dude, it's a lot of money. And then if you don't have a truck, you might have a truck, but if you don't have a trailer and like a mowing, all that stuff, dude, if you bought everything brand new, dude, that's $15,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it is a step. It's just, but can you make that initial investment of $15,000? Can you cut that to like a fourth, where maybe you buy a used mower or something where you could just get started and use that other investment money as like advertisement and like marketing? Because just imagine if you could take that $15,000 and get started for $5,000, and and then take that other 10. You don't have to, but like if you're going to spend the same amount of money, could you take that other 10 and use it as marketing and then quickly buy a brand new mower that obviously you don't want to use a push mower, you don't want to use a walk behind or some cheap mower for your whole life, but for the first 3 or 4 months, could it get you by where you're slowly growing a business? Because when we started, man, we had 2 push mowers from a garage sale, like actual push. Like it was terrible. And we had a minivan, and we were throwing in the back of a minivan. Really quickly, we got mowers that like went self-propelled. Like we thought it was the best thing in the world. Yeah, they were push mowers, but they were self-propelled, and we're like, dude, this is so easy, And then eventually we got a walk behind, 36-inch and stuff like that. But starting off, like sometimes you just instead of I know $15,000 or whatever to get all brand new stuff or whatever the case may be, it's scary, man. Because I just looked up a trailer that I bought last year for $1,750, exact same trailer. I just asked them how much it is. It's $2,450, like $700 more, man. Like that's almost 50% markup. So it's scary because you have to spend so much money. But is there a way where you could spend less? Or this year you say, hey, man, is there a way where I could just buy like a hedger and go get people's hedges done and save all this money so I can get some more equipment? But yeah, I get it, man. I don't know if there's anything else what's the 5-year, 10-year goal for you? Like what's that carrot out there? You say, hey, in 10 years, this is what I want.
And in our reality, like I enjoy, being out doing the manual labor now. I'm young, I still feel good. Like, I can throw mulch all day, I can weed eat all day, whatever. But I know that I want to move into more of a like managerial position, I guess, in a sense. Like I know that I can't be out doing this, the rest of my life and whatnot. And that's kind of I want to, I guess 5-10 years from now, really would like to have a pretty good size business, I guess, that I'm running, kind of managing. And I saw a thing, I guess, last week, and it was saying that 3% of landscaping companies can make it to $1 million a year, in revenue. And the whole thing I've tried to like tell myself here lately is why not me? Why can't I get to that?
Yeah, why can't you be the 3%?
Yep. So that's, I guess, long term, that's kind of where I'm at. And I was kind of going to ask you, like, how do you go about your goal planning and how do you adjust, for those, I guess, throughout the year if things do change?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I didn't know that stat. That's crazy, man. I didn't know.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I get it. I now that you say that, it makes sense because, you look at all these guys who are doing one-man crews or solo and stuff, and, you can do $250,000 by yourself, but, dude, you're mowing every day, and I love mowing, and I still mow. I started working for one of my alma mater at my high school, and I do the grounds for them while I run the company and everything. And I cut the grass, but I don't cut grass every day, so I enjoy it. I love getting out in the sun. I love being able to eventually teach my son how to work. But like you said, 10 years down the road, I don't want to be out mowing grass every single day.
Yeah.
As for the goals, another book I highly recommend, and I don't read a lot of these books. I listen to them, on Audible.
Okay.
I highly recommend getting an Audible account because you can get 2 credits a month or 2 books a month for $10. And
yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, I have 90 books on my Audible account, and I'm listening to a book almost every week. So, but one of the books is The One Thing, and The One Thing, I don't know if you ever heard me talk about it, but it's about what is the one thing you need to do today? Like, what's the most important thing to do today to reach your 10-year goal? So whatever your 10-year goal is, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But 5 years from now, what needs to be true? Like, where do you need to be to reach your 10-year goal? Then 2 years from now, how do you get to where do you need to be to get to your 5-year goal? Like, and then it breaks it down to what is the most important thing to do today to reach that 10-year goal. So sometimes we're doing stuff that doesn't help us reach our goal, right? Like if I'm answering phone calls every day, all day, customers, like that's not actually helping us because anybody can answer phone calls.
Yes.
I need to be doing the most important the thing to do today. The other thing is when I wrote down my 10-year goal like 3 years ago, I didn't have kids, right? I didn't have any kids. My son is 2 years old, about to turn 3 in July. So my goal was different. I wanted like 10 crews. I have it written down. I wanted 10 crews. I wanted like 3 landscape crews, and I wanted like a $5 million business. Now that doesn't sound like appealing to me. I want to make as much money as I can. I want to be the most efficient as I can, but I also, that seems like a lot of time away from my family for that.
Yep.
So, your goals are going to change, but how? To me, the other thing that helped me is there's a book called The 4 Hour Work Week. I don't know if I mentioned this on podcast, but the 4 Hour Work Week too. It talks about, it's not about like how much money you have, it's about, or how much money you make or how much money you have. It's about how much freedom you have. So everybody's goal is different, but some people make $500,000 a year and they have a nice house and a nice car, but they don't get to enjoy it except for
Yep.
2 weeks out of the year. So, are you really as wealthy as someone who makes $100K a year who can take off anytime they want? So
Yep.
that was my goal. My goal is, hey, can I set up my business? And the last thing I'll say about goals is when I started working, and 3 years ago when I took over the business, I've said this thousands of times to my brother and thousands of times to my dad and everybody, is I don't care how much money I make this week, right? I'm not trying to just do a job just to make money this week. I'm trying to build the company so 5 years down the road we have freedom, right? And
Yes.
that I think that if you look at it from a long-term perspective, it really helps. It's more of, because sometimes you need to do jobs to make money. Sometimes you do jobs that, hey, this is a $3,000 job. It doesn't really line up with my long-term goal, but I need $3,000 right now. Okay, I get it. I understand that. We've done that, but ultimately, over and over again, what's that 10-year goal? Because for me, hey, if I have 3-4 crews like I do now, and we're efficient, we're profitable, we're doing extra side work for extra money, we're building the company stronger and stronger. People want to work for us. People enjoy it. That 10 years down the road, that's somewhere I want to be. And then lastly, one of my goals was, hey, let's take the company's money, the profits money, and let's invest in real estate. And we haven't done that yet, but that's what we want to do in 10 years. Hey, can we have 3-4 paid for rentals? So that's kind of how I look at it. I really highly recommend reading the book One Thing About Goals, is
Okay.
how to reach them for one, but then also how to set them, because it's by Gary Keller. He does a really good job.
What was the name of that?
The one thing. So just like the number one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and dude, if you don't have an Audible account, because dude, I don't, you're in landscaping and stuff, and you got school. You're not gonna. It's hard to sit down and read a book. It just
For
is.
sure.
But I mean, if you're mowing for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours a day, dude, you could listen to a book in a day. Or
I keep headphones in 9 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I don't listen to a book the whole time, but sometimes I'm listening to music very, very little now. But I'm either listening to a podcast or a book, and I don't listen to a book every time because I like the podcast is back and forth. There's more people talking, but man, finding a good book where hopefully the One Thing in the Pumpkin Plan, Profits First, could help you. That I don't know if that helps you with the goals and stuff.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I guess, seeing your outlook and how things have changed. You said you started with basically nothing, and you've built up to what you are now, and that's it's admirable, in a sense, and that's kind of like what I wanted to hear, because you got some guys that they're just out here and they're blessed, they're handed, kind of a business from their dad or whatnot. I've got some friends and stuff that's in that situation. Equipment was handed to them and stuff, and it's kind of like starting from ground zero. How do I build up?
Mm-hmm.
How do I get to the point that all these other guys are at? And that advice is great.
Yeah,
I'll definitely check out those books for sure.
Yeah, and one of the last things is when I took over from my dad 3 years ago, is I bought the company from him, and it wasn't like if I had to do it again, I don't know if I would. I think I might have went out on my own because we bought it for a decent amount, and really kind of helped my dad out. But I do know this, that the struggle, like sometimes it's 80 hours, man. Sometimes it's 70 hours. But when you are working for someone else for 60, 70 hours and you just get a check. They decide how much they pay you. They decide how much a raise you get. They decide how much time you get off. Like, it's just not fun. But when you're working 80 hours and then you see a business grow from 3 years ago, man, dude, it's just like, it's a satisfying thing. And just the freedom, hey, like, if I don't want to work Friday, hey, I don't have to take these jobs, But the last thing I would say, and then I'll be done, is the first 3 years of business, man, I would highly recommend being as frugal as possible, right? Like, invest so much back into the business, like new equipment, marketing, a website, branding, like all of these things that move the needle, and don't spend those profits, right? Like, spend them on the company, because because if we would have taken some money out a couple years ago, man, I don't think we'd be where we're at, right? It's about putting the money back in the company. It's like investing in mutual funds or stocks, right? You gotta keep doing it, or you're gonna look 3 years down the road, 3 years from now, and be like, yeah, I went on a couple of nice vacations. I have a nicer truck, a nicer personal vehicle, but like, my business isn't where it could be if I would have just invested all that money into marketing and people and equipment. So that's what that's kind of my last advice is when you start this, and I hopefully you do, man. Hopefully you kind of get over that fear and just go get it. But be as frugal as possible and invest as much as you can. Whatever you can live off of, do the bare minimum and invest everything back into the company and believe in it.
Okay, man, that is awesome.
Yeah, brother. Hey, man, I don't know if you have any advice. So how old are you again?
I am 23.
Okay, so 23. Any advice for someone who's entering college and where, because you started college 4 or 5 years ago, right? Like,
yes,
I believe college is important, man. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, but at the same time, I would never tell someone. I've told many people, 75% 80% of people need to go to college. It just helps, man. I really do. It just helps. Yeah, you might not use everything you learned in college, but finishing a degree, dude, that's valuable. So is there any advice you'd give to an 18, 19-year-old kid who's looking to go to college?
So I guess, I've went through, this is my third major now, kind of figuring out, and you may go in, I guess, in a sense, anybody, and they're not going to know, you think you know what you want to do at 18, 19 years old, but things definitely change. Your mind changes. You see different things. But the biggest thing for me, I guess, that I've got out of college is just the networking, meeting people, making connections. These are your friends, like you got your friends in high school, whatever, but the friends you make in college are kind of your lifelong friends, in my opinion, and just all the connections that I've made with people. And I guess, it's the first step of being out on your own. It'll definitely mature you. You'll grow as a person. You'll kind of figure out, kind of how you want to move through life. And it's very hard. You're told at a young age, you're supposed to pick what you want to do the rest of your life. And I guess I didn't, it took me 2 or 3 years to kind of finally figure out what exactly I wanted to do. But, I guess I've been taking things day by day and finally, trusting God's plan, I guess, and things have just been kind of falling into place here as of late. So that's kind of my pitch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. It's not a I'm going to pick to be a doctor and I'm going to end up as a doctor. Not everybody does that. It's just like, hey, where do I want to be? Because goals change for me in my business, goals change in my life. Where do I want to be down the road? And I do think you're right. I have a lot of friends. I have friends from high school that I still talk to, but I have a lot of friends from college that I still talk to. And
yes,
you're right, man. Like, just because a lot of the college kids, like in high school, there's a lot of different things. But when you get to college, it seems like there's even more focused on you're more of the same like mind, right? You've taken the next step into college. So you connect on almost a deeper basis than in high school, where in high school you're just trying to have fun and impress the girls, right?
Yeah.
So but when you get to college, you're a little bit more focused. So that's right, man. Friends. I mean, I talk to friends almost every single week that I met in college, and we are close friends who are in my wedding. So, hey, man, I really do. I appreciate you coming on. I know is a heartbreaking loss for you a couple weeks ago, but I'm glad you were able to talk through that for one.
I just look to next year, I guess. Hopefully, a few pieces fall in. We have a couple guys come back, and we're back in it again. But man, it's been a rough few years.
Yeah, and I stopped. Like I said, I stopped doing a bracket because I found myself not cheering for upsets because I wanted my bracket team to like win. So I stopped doing brackets a couple years ago, and it's been better for me. So I always cheer for the upsets. But unfortunately, I had to, when the upsets win, that means someone's heart is broken. So, hey, man, like I said, Peyton, I appreciate you coming on. I hope you get done with that school and then start that business. Hopefully I talk to you in a year from now in the spring, and you're like, hey, dude, I got 20 lawns. I'm ready to go. I got my equipment, and we're killing it.
Yes, sir. Listen, I appreciate your time and giving me the advice you've given me today, and hopefully I can apply it, and I can't thank you enough.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. I think a lot of people learned something, dude. Have a good one, brother.
Yes, sir. You too.
Yep. Hey, I think there's a lot of people who I think the most common question I get and like on TikTok and Instagram and stuff is, I don't have a company yet and I want to start. Like I'm at a job right now or I'm in school. Like how do I start a lawn company? And I tell people like you just got to start it. Does that mean you have to start it tomorrow? No. But like him, like Peyton, excuse me, He's looking, I have a goal of starting it next spring, and then what's kind of the steps I need to get to. And he called me, or he reached out to me, and we talked it through, and hopefully that helped you. But it's finding someone that you can look to and say, how'd you start your company? Right? Like, how'd you start your painting business? How'd you do this? How'd you start this excavating company? Like, what can I learn from you to help me get to where I'm supposed to be? Because, like he said, there's so many lawn care companies out there, and I have a guy in my church that I give stuff to all the time because it doesn't line up with us. It's still stuff that he wants and he needs, and he can still grow his company. And there's so many opportunities for people to help that want to help you. And if you want to start a company, man, like just do it. Just start it. There's a book called Start, and it's all about stop worrying about the fear you have, all of that, questions. Just go ahead and start it. And like I said, you don't have to just jump in the middle of the ocean with no life vest, right? Figure out a plan to get you to where you want you to be. I appreciate Payton coming on. I really do. Like, he doesn't have a company, but there's a lot of people who are where he is who want to start a lawn care company. And then how do I do it? The stuff that freaks me out is the finances. It's the taxes. It's the business side of it. Most people know how to cut grass. Most people know, not most people, but if you want to start a painting business, you probably know how to paint. Okay, if you want to start a power washing company, you probably know how to do power washing. It's the other stuff that people are scared of, and that's where you can learn from people in your area, people at your church, people at the Y, people anywhere. Hey, talk to them. Hey, do you have a company? Oh, you do? Can I learn from you? Hey, like I said, if you want to get on the show, message me on Instagram. Email the show, thegoodallshow@gmail.com. The book of the week is The Pumpkin Plan. Like I said, if you are listening to music for 8 hours straight while you're cutting grass, while you're painting, while you're doing anything, driving a truck, you are wasting your time. Okay, you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to a book. This Go Giver book, this, like we talked about last week, this Pumpkin Plan book is an 8-hour book. If you can read half of it by lunchtime, or listen to half of it by lunchtime. Then the next day, listen to the other half, and that could change your life. The Pumpkin Plan, the Profits First, the one thing we talked about today, the 4-hour work week we mentioned there, those will all help you. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you have listened to this whole thing, if you've watched this whole thing, dude, you need to share it. I mean, if you watch this whole thing and you don't share it, if you don't like it, if you don't comment, dude, I appreciate you watching, but help us out. Get the word out. We're starting to grow on YouTube, almost 2,100 subs. Slowly but surely. I know I don't do satisfying videos, and I know that would make us grow faster. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help. It's getting busy. Hopefully I can upload a podcast a week. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.